Here we go. Welcome to another episode of Shoot the Defense. I'm Stel. I've got Steve Eyre. I've got Mike Pieri and Rhodri Giggs, aka the Omonia Killer. But hopefully, you won't be saying that for too long. How we doing, boys? We good?
Good, Stel. All right.
Well,
Yeah, all good. Rod, you good?
Yeah. I'm propping a league up, so I've got to own the name. So I've got to own it.
Jesus Christ. Well, listen, for people who aren't aware as to what's going on at this current moment in time, we've got a little bit of an FPL league going on. And at this moment in time, Rod is down here. He's rock bottom, 48 points this game week, 83 points in total. I mean, Rod, come on, explain yourself, please.
Yeah. No, like I said, I put my time limit on it, so it should be improved.
What do you mean you should be improved?
Well, I've got my time limit on my time that I spend on it, so it should improve. I'm taking more time into it, more detail. I'm taking more time into it, like I'm done with my NFL fantasy team. I've always come first or second there, so I need to up my game. So I've put the time in, you get the results. So we'll see. You see my team. I've changed my team again last night, so we'll have to. It's looking good.
Have you thrown in the towel? Come on.
No. From my towel in August. Nothing's handed out in August, is it, Mike? Oh yeah, fucking hell. What's going on?
He's just come back from Cyprus. He's using Cyprus Wi-Fi, mate. Remy Kali, what's going on with you, man? Why are you disappearing? You can't even hear me now. Look at him. He's sending a message. What's happened? I can't hear nothing. Steve, good result for you guys at the weekend, no?
Yeah, it's a good result. Yeah, with Doncaster, we're doing okay, mate. We're unbeaten. We're fifth. We can play a little bit better yet and hopefully get into a bit of a groove, but we're quite happy with the 11 points and where we are at the moment. It's a good result against Salford.
More late goals.
Yeah, we like late goals, mate, yeah, but we'll take them at any time. But yeah, lots of late goals this year. Really fit, you see, really organised. We go till the end. A bit like Man United used to be.
Not good for the ticker, though, is it?
Not really. And Roger's not too good for the Barnet either, but no, I'm enjoying it, mate. So it's good. They're doing well, the lads.
Excellent.
That wouldn't have happened in my day at Salford, late goals.
Oh, no.
Tuned.
Absolutely not.
Just another question about this. You guys keep fighting literally right to the end. Is this something that a mentality that you guys have instilled? Because I remember last season you struggled, especially at the beginning of your tenure there. But it's almost as if you've gained a lot of momentum and a lot of hard work has been done over the summer. Is fitness been an issue and has that improved?
I'm going to go with that, Stel, and any other superlatives. But I think the truth is we had a bit of trauma on the first day. We had a silly sending off in the first half at Bradford, which was our own fault. 20,000 crowd, carnival atmosphere, probably the best, strongest team in the league, biggest club. And we managed to get through 65 minutes, including the injury time, with 10 men of an absolute onslaught. Now, obviously, we weren't really in favour of the sending off. We weren't best pleased in the moment. But I think the fact that we came through that, I think it could be hopefully the story of our season, that now we think we're capable of standing up to anything, because as we've done that, it gave us the confidence to go toe-to-toe with anybody else. And thankfully, we've been better than every opponent up to now.
How was the apology to the boys?
He apologised briefly. We moved on and got on with the next fixture, which he didn't play in, Lee Tomlin. But he doesn't really need to apologise with what he brings to the training.
It was silly sending off of an
It was a shocking sending off. But what he has done, he's set up the last two winners in the last two games. So for me, that's an apology enough. The next thing he's got to do is score a goal to win us a game. But he's a Premier League talent that should be playing in the Championship, that is playing in League Two with Doncaster. So we're dead pleased to have him.
I've got to say, I've watched a few games, and it's got to have helped. Like you're getting 7, 9, 8 injury time minutes.
Yeah.
You seem to be getting a lot of them recently, haven't you?
Yeah, well, there's been incidents in the game, Rod. There's been
sure,
sending off. There's been a broken leg. And what I will say to add what you're saying, you're right. But you've got these 5 subs that can come on these days, mate. So subs are coming on all over the place. So you're getting the extra time at the end of the game.
Yeah.
You know, teams are making treble substitutions, and you can make one at half time for free. And like I say, it's breaking the game up. And if you've got goals in the game too, you're likely to have 5, 6, 7 minutes at full time.
And do you think it's helped the lads when they see that and it's relaxed them and then they can go on and score them goals?
Well, again, you watched it all at United, but the first time you do it, people say it's lucky. But when you do it time and time again, it's not luck, because people believe that you can do it. The opposition are shit scared that you're going to do it. Your home supporters stay in the stadium till full time and don't drift off home. So there's energy still in the stadium, and you've got energy from your substitutes because of this new rule. So you've still got energy in the game, and if you go for it, you've got a chance of doing something. It might go against us over the season, but we've scored late winners like 3 or 4 times now. So it's no longer luck. It's more likely to be good judgment from the manager, I think.
Yeah, it's a good habit to have.
Definitely.
Steve, what is the objective for this season then?
Well, whisper it quietly. There's got to be a bounce back. There's got to be a promotion tilt. I'm not sure about suggesting that they should win the league or anything like that. I wouldn't be foolhardy to suggest that. But the supporters don't belong in this division. The stadium doesn't belong in this division, and we've got to make sure that the football team doesn't belong in this division. And we've decided today that if you get 8 blocks of 11 points, you get promoted. But we've just done 1 block, so we've only got 7 left. Now, I know there's a lot of football to play, but in terms of a good start, it's definitely a good start. And we go to Northampton, a promotion favourite, on Saturday. And that would definitely mean then, as a statement fixture, that if we win, it's a great start. And if we come away with a point, it's still a really good start, and we're in a good place moving forward. And we're obviously looking for promotion still.
What do you mean block? You've got like 8 seasons and you're like 8 bits. You've gone
blocks of 11 points, Rod. Blocks of 11
okay.
points. So if you do that 8 times, you're up on mid 80 points.
All right,
so
okay,
we've just done 1 block of 11 points out of 8, and you've only got 7 left. If you can get another 20 points before Christmas, I don't know. We look well. We still need to play better, and we possibly need a couple of additional players. But we've got to be happy with the start.
Nothing changes for you then, does it? It stays the same, this World Cup business. You just stay the same, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, certainly. No, we've got a load of great lads, but I know we've not got any internationals. It won't affect us, but yeah, I think we go straight through. Don't even know actually, but no, obviously it doesn't affect the fixtures.
Yeah. Richie Wellens is doing well at Leighton Orient as well, isn't he?
Very well, yeah. I mean, me and Rhodri know him, and I've seen him a week ago. The only thing he's struggling with is feeling a bit tired with the travelling, but it's his choice. He's a Manchester lad working in London. He gets back to see the family. I don't know if that'll wear him down eventually, but they've had the best start of everybody.
And Rochdale down at the bottom, 5 defeats, 5 games.
Yeah. And got beat tonight by Sheffield Wednesday in the cup, and are probably going to need a new manager now that they've sacked one. They've got a caretaker, and probably announced a new one by Saturday's game. So yeah, they're really, really struggling. They look a really poor outfit.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about the Premier League, and shall we begin with United's win against Liverpool last night? One that was quite unexpected. For most anyway. I had a feeling United might get something out of it, given the shambolic display against Brentford. And I said it a few weeks ago, boys, on this pod. In fact, I think it was the season preview, that Ten Hag needs to be given the opportunity to build a team. Then he needs to wean players out slowly, the likes of Maguire. You can't piss them off and drop them from day one, because immediately you've got a target on yourself. But he took a big step yesterday. I wouldn't say a gamble, but it was a bold move, dropping Maguire, dropping Shaw, playing a very energetic system, keeping Ronaldo on the bench. Lo and behold, United get a win against Liverpool, who Liverpool have also had a bad start. But let's start with you, Mike, because I know that you were on the plane at the time, flying back. I assume you got to watch the game afterwards or some highlights. In terms of United's performance, what were the standout tactical side of things you believe got United over the line in this one?
I think if you look at the first 2 games that United played, they had the vast majority of possession. And in the last couple of years, when that's happened, hasn't really played to their strengths. Whereas yesterday, what you saw was that the way the team was set up was with pace up top. And as you saw with Rashford's goal, was an obvious example where you know, if you can get the ball in a transition, move it forward very quickly, then you can exploit any team if you're, you know, 3v3, 4v3 even, or 3v4. And that's exactly what happened. So for me was the high energy. And I think exemplified by players like Malacia, who came in terms of, you know, up and down that his side, going into tackles, showing a bit of energy. Martinez as well. I just think in terms of tactics, I think he changed it slightly from, well, not changed it a lot from the previous game. He just gave, you know, De Gea was playing far longer, more than he was playing short. So because that's Liverpool's strength, isn't it? Liverpool's strength is getting the ball in the opposition's defensive third, whereas United were playing it longer, quicker, and trying to play in the opposition's third in a quicker rather than build it up. And I think it worked. Because as we know, you know, De Gea's not great with his feet, and I think that just alleviated some pressure from the back as well, and it worked.
Steve, Liverpool have had a bit of a torrid start to the season, for their standards anyway. But a pattern appears to be emerging more and more, and we saw it at the back end of last season, especially in the Champions League final. You're seeing their fullbacks get up so high up the field. They're leaving 20, 30-yard gap, and the central defenders stand no chance when the balls are played either in behind them or into the channels, and United exploited that for both goals, really. Think about it. Malacia got down the left-hand side, same with Rashford. Van Dijk has come in for a lot of criticism lately. I believe he's just going through a bit of a sticky patch at the moment, which a lot of great players do. But is this a sign of things to come for Liverpool? Have they been sussed, so to speak?
Yeah, and I'll add to something at the end of that, Stel. I know Rhodri likes Reece James. He's showing a young England fullbacks how to do it. You could argue Trippier the same, but I think Trent Alexander-Arnold's got a character defect. I think he's aloof. He doesn't seem to sweat. He doesn't seem determined. And if he has a bad game, normally you reset a bad game by just maybe getting a tackle in or maybe playing a couple of simple passes. But he just continues to drift into a nightmare performance, almost arrogant. So I think there's been quite an age-old theory now that you can get at him, but also you can get at Van Dijk, especially since the injury. And I think he's been in a comfort zone for too long. I don't think either of them play with any real aggression. I think they're a bit too cool for school. I think they've been excellent at other times, I have to say. But I don't think they overexert themselves. I think they try and show you that if they've got it all under control, that they're never flustered and they don't have to go physical. And I think they try to show that they're cultured players. And of course, at times they do. But the other point I'd like to mention as well, on the other side, I think they've got deadlock now on the left-hand side, because we're really going to see how good Sadio Mane was for Liverpool now, the fact that he has left. And what he was doing, his running, his work rate, his goals, his assists, but he was going from out to in, Stel, and he was going from that left wing perch, right foot, or basically becoming inside the defenders to become a centre forward. And that was allowing Robertson to come down the outside. So you were getting two of them going at it. But now this Diaz is such a fantastic player, but he's left-footed and he's playing on his natural side. You can't get round him because he's in the space. His opponent's in the space. And all Robertson doing is backing up behind him in support. So I think they've lost something on both sides of the pitch, because Robertson can't attack like he used to. And Alexander-Arnold is struggling defending.
I saw the first goal from Sancho, the way that Malacia got in behind, and when you watch Alexander-Arnold, he was literally walking, and then when the ball fell to Sancho, it was like, oh wait, I need to wake up. But the same thing happened on the first day of the season when he wasn't tracking Mitrovic, who was on the back stick. And I honestly believe a lot of teams are going to do that against Liverpool this season, get the ball out wide and try aim at the back stick and get a tall guy in there, because Trent seems to be their weak link defensively. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people have been saying this for a while, but I think it's now coming to fruition. Now, I don't know whether this is because of the amount of games that this player has played over the past few years. I know Simon Brundish came out with a fantastic statistic earlier on Twitter, which I'm going to have to find and bring up, about the number of games and minutes played, etc., etc. But it looks like a lot of these Liverpool players are actually blowing out their asses now. Is that a possibility?
Stel, for me, Alexander-Arnold has changed the way he plays and his body since he did the thigh strain or the hamstring whichever it was. One of them was for England. He certainly doesn't sprint forward or back anymore. He just wants to ghost from right back into that right midfield position where Kevin De Bruyne takes up for City, and he wants to curl balls behind defences. He doesn't want to come back. He doesn't want to sprint back, and he doesn't want to tuck round. And I think, we're football fans and we can see it. So the so-called experts, the managers, the head coaches, the analysts, they'll have this scrutinised and they'll be putting a plan together for the top players to exploit.
Mike, you're muted.
It's a good point, Steve. I'd love to see the stats on Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of distance covered and sprints made, because I think there'll be a massive difference.
I'm sure.
I think there'll be a massive difference. But I think also, and we've seen it this season, Liverpool's midfield is not great at the minute. They've got injuries, and Milner, Henderson, they look leggy. They look just not at it. They really miss Fabinho in there. But when you look at their midfield and you look at the other midfields in and around who we expect to be in the top six, they don't look too clever at the minute.
No, I've got a point to make before I hand it over to Rhodri, because he'll enjoy the United bit, and so he should. But it's only a little football fan little spot that I found, really. But with this Thiago, he's never really 100% fit, and he's often not fit at all. But if you actually go on any bits of social media on him, he's stood on one touchline, keeping a ball up, and he's volleying it the full width of the field to a mate, and he's landing it on a sixpence who volleys it back. He's spending all this time in mess-about practices volleying balls across the field. Now, these days, the way the players are tuned and, the way they are, that's a guarantee to cause injury, just blasting balls. Even strikers aren't allowed to stay out for training anymore by fitness coaches because the excess load that it has on your leg muscles. Every time, I know he's a world-class player, I'm not being silly here, but every time I watch him on social media, he's just volleying the ball across the pitch. I'm never surprised he's injured.
So what do you think would explain Oxlade-Chamberlain's injuries and Naby Keita, who apparently didn't even show up? I don't know how much truth there is in that. It's almost as if he was disinterested. That Liverpool midfield, it's just bare bones. I think that's the nicest way to put it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I've also, this hasn't been backed up yet, but I've also been told that there'll be a lot of people get injured and continue to re-injure for those that are having the teeth done and continue to try and play at the top level. It affects the body downwards. So I'd be interested to know that who's had these veneers, because I know Daniel Sturridge is one of the first. I think Jordan Henderson's another. And I think there'd be a few more that
Firmino's.
They constantly get injured via what they've had done to the teeth. It'll have to be scientifically proven and exposed, but I'm hearing it more and more.
Come on, Rod. Come on. I want to hear it from you, man. Come on. You've been so sad for the past 2 years. I need the joy back in your voice. Come on.
No, it was good to see just putting effort in, just putting effort in every single one of them, and it was a good performance, especially against Liverpool. It was unexpected, and it was a joy really to watch. Yes, they put you under pressure later on, but not pressure where we're worrying and thinking they're going to nick one. So yeah, it was a good performance. Shaw, Maguire, even Ronaldo. I think it's time for them to go. Shaw's been here 8 years, not done a tap, and this left back's here to stay. He's not getting moved. He's tenacious. He's quick. He gets up and down. You can't get past him. He gets stuck in as well. So they talk about his height. He's no bigger than Patrice Evra, and he didn't have any problems. So. It was a good performance. Even Scott McTominay, didn't make any mistake, didn't really stand out, but did his job. Eriksen looked good. Fernandes looks a better player when Ronaldo doesn't play, funny enough, which is weird. Even though the stats show that as well. He scores and assists much, much more when Ronaldo's not in the team. So that's something to look at. And then Sancho and Elanga, and it all started from them, and Rashford up top. The pressure they put on the back four. The movement, it was just all round very good performance, and just a template what should be to come.
Should we get excited to see Varane and Martinez at centre back?
Yeah, because you know
He was
all
shaking
these
his
top,
head.
you don't get too excited because you know I like this Martinez. I like him. He's you know people say about his height, it's rubbish. It's just rubbish. Varane, I don't know yet. Just need to see more. Yeah, he's just need to see more. But you know, it's a position that needs filling. Lindelof's not good enough. Bailly, yes, he'd be good enough if he weren't so injury prone, but he gets injured too many
He's off,
times.
isn't he?
He's
Yeah,
got
he looks like he's off on loan as well. So
yeah.
we've always down the years we've seen it before. It's never one just centre half. It's always a pairing, and you need a good pairing in the Premier League. So you know we've seen it with City when they won the league last year. You know even Stones and Laporte, and then Diaz come in, and he's put into the next level. So, but Stones looked dodgy on the weekend. Maguire and Walker looked suspect as well. But yeah, United great performance, but no, just something to build on now. It's Southampton away. It should be the same performance. The same performance, you'll get the same result. But if you get the performance of Brighton, and you know Brighton was a mistake. Why didn't he not play Rashford up front? It still baffles me that. It still baffles me. Playing a false nine at Old Trafford. What's that about? Pay Rashford there. He's a centre forward. He's played there many, many times, and he looked sharp last night. So, yeah.
Well, Rod, a player that you mentioned made a bit of a difference last night was Martial, another player who we believed, in fact, back in the last season, that he might thrive under Ten Hag.
I think, he will, because he puts the work. People, I think it's a myth. If you actually watch him, he does put the work in. It's just his demeanour and the way he looks. But he does put the work in, and he's the best person at the club. Well, behind Ronaldo, of finishing goals. He's very cool under pressure, and he looked lively again when he came on yesterday. 45 minutes, freshened it up a bit, so which helped because he was probably tiring of the work they put in the first 45 minutes. So Elanga, he should have scored early on. It was really an easy finish, to be honest. All he's got to do is lift it, just hit the tag, and it's a goal. But he's put it hit the post. But yeah, it was a good performance, like I say. But nothing to get too excited about. Liverpool weren't great. It was Liverpool who turned up against Fulham. You get in the faces and you start bright, and they couldn't deal with it. They just couldn't deal with it. Van Dijk looked flustered. You've got Milner giving him a telling off, which is, Virgil van Dijk will be watching that, and he won't like that when he sees it on the telly. A top player like that, and he's getting told off for not doing his job, just sitting there 5-6 yards off. Go and close him down, man. But Milner's right in what he's probably saying, and it might the rocket up his ass he probably needs Van Dijk because he's been off it.
Okay, well, let's move on to another game that was quite feisty, and that was Newcastle 3-3 against Man City. Steve, how can you sum up that match in maybe 4 or 5 words? Because I'm still struggling to think of frenetic. It was a physical. There's so many words. And Mike is a teacher; he could probably come up with more. To be fair, I should have asked him. In all fairness, but I'll leave it to the expert, the football expert here, Steve.
I'm not that, but I think City and Liverpool both started aloof in the game, and I think City have got a cooler manager, even though they're both elite world-class managers. We know this, but I also think City have got better characters in their team, and they, give their head a bit of a shake, and they sorted it out there, the 3-1 to 3-3, and they come away with a point against Newcastle. We can't win every game. The last time we lost was at Tottenham on the first game of the season last year, so it's been a hell of a stint. But I am tempted. There's no bandwagon here because I'm one of his biggest supporters. But I do think if Phil Foden squares for Erling Haaland for the second week running, for us to extend our lead, I think that there would have been no nonsense. I think City would have been up to the halfway line. I think you'd have took all the gusto and the ambition out of Newcastle, and it would have been a fairly standard, almost usual, easy game for City. I'm not putting it down to the pinpoint moment for Foden not squaring it completely, but I don't think it helped because Haaland was in a far better position to score for the second week running. And I don't think Guardiola will put up with it for much longer, although Phil did score from that angle last week in the same game.
When I saw City go ahead quite early, I thought, this could get quite ugly. But in all fairness, it kind of was like the other way around, wasn't it? Saint-Maximin ran riot. Callum Wilson did well. Almiron scored, which kind of was like two fingers up at Jack Grealish. I think Newcastle will be very disappointed to come away with only a point, given they were 3-1 up. But at the same time, you're playing against the Premier League champions here, man. And they're not champions because they're mugs. So I didn't expect anything else from City. But
elite preparation and coaching. That's what Newcastle have got.
Super Eddie.
Super Eddie. All right. Well, I'll let you talk about Newcastle then, Rod. Go on.
No, they went 1-0 down, and you all think the worst. You think, oh, here we go. But no, they were excellent game. And then City, come back, and I really didn't think City were going to come back and do it. But it shows the class of the team, even though they weren't playing at the top as they can do. But yeah, it was a good performance, and City really lucky to come away with a point, because Newcastle really should have gone on and won it.
Well, you were talking in the group chat about...
if you look at it, Walker, Jones, Stones, Cancelo didn't play well. Another -1 for Stes. Sorry, Stes. It was. I wonder why Grealish didn't play. That was a weird one. Is it what he said about?
Yeah,
definitely
players.
Definitely.
Good point for Newcastle. No, it's going to be they won't lose many games there. Crowds up, they're buoyant. They've got speed up front at Maximum and Wilson, and players behind them. They look really good. Trippier's really, really good. The left back, what's his name, from Villa? I didn't really fancy him, but he's playing well as well.
Target,
yeah. They've got a good midfield, mobile, like I say, and decent on the ball as well. But like I say, that Maximum, he gives Walker a torrid time. And Stones doesn't look off it as well. He needs to get match speed, because he won't play otherwise. That Ake, don't fancy him. He's not looked right when he's come in. Seems to get injury prone as well. But they've got Ruiz. Is it Ruiz or Diaz? Ruiz. And who else have we got? Is Laporte still there?
Laporte's just. I noticed he's doing an injury rehab at Atletico Bilbao or something, and he's just had a child at the same time. You get the feeling when I saw that he'd had a child, he's in a different country rehabbing an injury in the sun. I'm not sure he's in a rush to get back, mate.
Who would your partnership be? Stones.
Definitely Diaz, and I like the balance of Laporte, and I like the fact that he's a goal threat, I have to say. Stones at his best, though, makes it a hard one to go alongside Diaz, but it's not Ake, even though he balances the team up. You're pushing me, Rod. I'll say Diaz and Laporte. Yeah,
but looking at Jesus now, was that a mistake as well? But City is still gonna run away with it. No doubt in my mind, City will win this league by a canter this year.
Steve, is the squad big enough, though, do you think?
Yeah. It's big enough, but I think I'm going to be dead interested now to see. There's normally a watershed game for football teams when they're on the decline, like they get hammered. And that was a nightmare performance, I thought, by Kyle Walker. Now, they're very rare because he's very fit, very quick, very committed. But Father Time does catch up. And it was that bad on Sunday. I thought he was so bad being pushed into that centre midfield position, being pass balls. He's not really collected in his career in different parts of the pitch, not flying up and down the touchline. He got lost around bodies. And I'm wondering if he can follow that. I expect him to follow up with better performances, but equally, I've got a doubt in my mind now about him, and I think the manager will have. Is he now just slightly starting to show a decline? Bit harsh to say after one game, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. I think we'll miss Zinchenko because I think Cancelo is inconsistent. He risks the ball. because he's got this amazing pass and he likes to pass off the outside of his foot and pass it through tight gaps. But I think they'll miss the consistency of Zinchenko, and I think Arsenal will gain from that, where he's playing the right pass at the right speed at the right time, doing the correct thing, no thrills, and possibly Jesus, but he's never going to get a game through the middle because I think the manager wants to play Erling Haaland every week. The biggest thing for me is Foden. He's now playing outside wide left, and I think he's got 1v1 opportunities, and his best thing is receiving and turning, but in that position, he's only aiming for the corner flag. But I think City are trying to play full width across the front to create gaps for Haaland to fly through, because they know that centre-halves are going to mark really tight and narrow in the middle of the pitch to stop him doing that. So I think Phil Foden, at the moment, is playing wide on the left touchline to create gaps for his strike partner, but the two players aren't actually combining themselves.
Do you think, Steve, that there's a little bit of concern here with the City's defending recently? Okay, granted, the goal that Trippier scored, you're not going to stop that. No defense can stop that. It's got nothing to do with this free kick. But in terms of the type of goals that City conceded the other day, you a bit concerned, a little bit?
No, I'm not. I'm not concerned, because I don't believe this manager and these players would have a back-to-back performance of concern, Stel. I think it would be ironed straight away by the manager. I think it would be ironed by Kevin De Bruyne and Diaz and Gundogan. I don't think they would allow it, and I don't think bad habits will creep into the system to go into months rather than weeks. I don't see it happening. I'm not concerned. Anything that was aloof and not very good on Sunday, I think will be squashed and improved for the next game at weekend.
I think what you're going to see with City this year, sorry, Stel, I think what you're going to see with City this year, you're going to see a lot of high-scoring games, because, you know, they'll concede a few, but, you know, they've got the quality to score a lot, which will be good for us, but not good for the manager. Unless, you know, like Stel said, they do stamp it out and they do shape up. Otherwise, you know, people target Walker and what they're seeing on Sunday, because, like I said, they were all over the place, over the place.
Yeah, agree.
Mike, let's talk a bit about Newcastle then, because you know, obviously it's a transitional phase for them, but there's been so much improvement since Eddie Howe came in. There you go. Well done giving Eddie Howe his flowers, as he quite rightly deserves. They didn't go crazy in the transfer market this summer, but there's still another 10, 11 days left, so you never know. But some of the signings that they've made, like Botman, for example, hasn't stepped foot into the first team yet to start games, but again, he came off the bench the other day. They haven't gone crazy in the market, but it seems that Eddie Howe is playing a system that is suited to many of these players, and he's actually squeezing as much ability out of these players as he possibly can. If you look at Saint-Maximin, for example, he doesn't look like a headless chicken. Callum Wilson is looking like a proper killer in front of goal. He brought in Pope, who was one of the best players on the pitch with the saves that he made. What did you make of Newcastle at the weekend?
I just think they just look very organised, and I think that, you know, in terms of their big players, their regulars, like you mentioned, Saint-Maximin. I always used to look at him and think of him as a playground footballer, you know, to use a school term, where he loves the ball, keeps the ball, wants to keep it as long as possible. But I think he's just added that little pass now. I think he's added a little bit more to his game, but I think he's a wonderful player. He's great to watch. You mentioned Pope. Pope was good as well. I'm surprised they never bought another centre forward. I
think they just bid for the Watford player, aren't they?
That's Sarr.
No.
The other one.
The
one that they Watford bought recently, wasn't it, a couple of years ago? That one.
Help us out, Stel.
Yeah.
Is he Portuguese?
It's between Newcastle and Everton.
Okay. Let me Google it. Hang about.
But I mean, it's late. I mean,
João Pedro. João Pedro. Is that the one?
Pedro.
João Pedro, yeah, from Watford.
Again, is he going to be better than Wilson straight away? I mean, Wilson's a good footballer, you know, and he knows where the goal is. But I just thought that with the money that they've got, the backing that they've got, that they would have gone out and bought, you know, a really big name, centre forward. Trippier, I think, has come back into the league. Got an injury back in the last season, but these players give you balance, they give you experience, and they just give you something a little bit different. I think the biggest thing that Eddie Howe did was turn Joe Linton from a centre forward into a midfielder. I think that's been like, wow. He gets on the ball. He's strong on the ball, and it just gives. I keep using that word balance. And is it Guimaraes? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Bruno, he looks a good footballer. He looks a really good footballer. So there's lots of good players at Newcastle. It's and they played really well against the champions. They'll be all right this year. They could be a threat if they get one or two players in. They could be a threat this year in that top 6, top 7.
I'll tell you what, I deliberately put Guimaraes on the bench because I knew he'd get a booking, and lo and behold, he got a booking. So he didn't play at the weekend, thank goodness, for my FPL team. But let's talk about two teams that won 3-0. First of all, Arsenal and then Leeds United. Steve, comfortable victory for Arsenal. They were clear after the first 20-25 minutes, mate. They're playing a very nice brand of football. I've been watching that All or Nothing show, and I can't help but like Arteta even more. He's a character. He's very good at motivating his players. But the one thing that stood out for me most of the weekend wasn't the fact that Odegaard scored twice and Arsenal were playing with a lot of verve. I like the fact that White, who has been playing as a right back, it's almost as if they move to 3 at the back when they go forward, especially with Zinchenko down that left-hand side. They seem to, I wouldn't say neglect their right-hand side because Saka obviously gets on the ball quite a bit, but they do rely a lot on that left side, don't they?
They do. And again, I don't want to steal Rhodri's thunder, but he covered it superbly last year that the discipline that they didn't have is now clearly there, I think. There's no nonsense. There's no Aubameyang, he might be on Chelsea in there. They might have to sort him out in the next couple of weeks at Cobham, but there's nobody not turning up for training. There's nobody getting fined or doing ridiculous things, or they seem to have a good ship there at the moment. And in Zinchenko and Jesus, they've got four Premier League winners, 4 times Premier League winners, serial winners really, but just quietly go under the radar and get the job done. They've got balance, and Odegaard, I think probably now the fact that he's taken captaincy of club and country, I think you're going to see a fantastic season from him. And I've got to say, Ramsdale, I'm not his biggest fan with his relegations and his social media activity, but he's more than capable and he's very good with the ball at his feet too. So, no, they're really good to watch at the moment. And because I don't think they'll threaten Manchester City, I'm not offended by Arsenal. I don't really see them as a rival, although they could beat you in a match. But over the season, I don't see them pushing. I'm going to enjoy watching them play and take a little bit of a shine to them. They don't offend me at all.
That goal that Jesus was heavily involved in, where he brought the ball down, he just fought off 2 or 3 players. For me, that didn't come as a surprise because he's got that in his locker, but it's just that we didn't see that enough from him at City. But he's looking very, very good at Arsenal now, isn't he?
A fantastic signing. You can do that, Rod, because I obviously think he's a terrific player, and he will be missed by Manchester City. But I think another one that will really step up at Arsenal, because when somebody gives you the belief that you are the main striker, he was nearly always the support act. Guardiola gave him bundles of games, bundles. He had runs in the team, but at no point must he have ever felt like he was the main striker. But there's absolutely no doubt at Arsenal that that's what he is.
I don't give my armband out in the fantasy team to Muggs, top player. He's my captain in a fantasy team, and he's a top player. He surprised me how good he's been. Because like you said, Stel, he's not really shown that kind of skill, but some of it, close feet skill, 2 or 3 man in small spaces. That's just it's absolute top drawer. And he's getting goals from it now. If he's not scoring himself, he's setting his mate up, and that's going to be only good for people around you. And yeah, I agree. I enjoyed that All or Nothing. He's a bit nutty, Arteta. Don't know about the light bulb and telling him about his Liverpool experience, but who am I to judge? But yeah, they've got him going, and the players that they've brought in, Shevchenko, Jesus, the kid that they brought back, the centre half who's been on loan,
Saliba who scored the goal, yeah,
very, very good. Who's got him? Someone's got him in there. Fucking top corner. So yeah, it was a good finish. Left foot, cultured, really good. He guided it in the top corner. When you've got centre halves that can do that, then there's some player. So, and he's only young as well. Gabriel is decent as well. So they seem to have got the centre halves set. Granit Xhaka, you'd love him or hate him, but I thought he was older than what he is, but he's only 28. So if he can stay on the pitch, he'll help the younger lads. And then they've got Smith Rowe, they've got Saka. So they've got a good team. They've got a really good team, young team, and like I say, the Jesus and Shevchenko have just stepped them onto another level for me to get to the Champions League, which I think they will do.
With Xhaka, just with Xhaka, I mean, this season we've seen him break into the box. Break lines and appear in the box, lay it off. Get shots off. He's not just a stopper. He's not just your bog standard central defensive midfielder number 6.
But that's never been him, Mike. That's never been Xhaka.
No, that's where he's been played though.
But that's never been him.
Played, whereas this year he's been given.
He scored a decent goal against United last year. That was pinged it from the edge of the box.
When he plays for Switzerland, he's always further up the pitch.
But it's just where he comes in late. Comes in late into the box and he arrives late. They've just added a little bit more. It's just an evolution, this team. And that's really how teams are built. And that trust in Arteta, when they had a bad start last year, is bearing fruit now. That's that evolution. And they've brought in a few players. And for me, Saliba's been wow. This season, he's been outstanding.
My question to you guys is...
Odegaard as well. Sorry, Stel. Odegaard steps up, been decent as well. Who's got him?
He's in my dream team. He's in my dream team, my FPL team. 13 points this weekend. What? Come on now. Got to be smart about these things, man.
If you look at my team, he's now in mine. So.
All right. Learn from the best. My question to you three is: they've had a great start to the season. I'm not taking anything away from them, and it will be a bit derogatory for me to say, "Oh, it's only been Palace, it's only been Bournemouth, it's only been Leicester who've been terrible." But
it's the performances, Stel. Performances, isn't it?
But what I'm going to ask is, when they do get that first defeat, how do you think they will bounce back from that? Because let's get it right. I mean, it still is quite a young squad, isn't it? If you think about it.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see. Stes will tell you, if you've been on a good run and you get beat, right, okay, that's out of the way now. Make sure we don't lose the next one, and all you concentrate on the next game. So we'll see how they react and how they bounce back if they've got a reaction. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But at the minute, they seem to be flying through teams and playing really good football, scoring good goals. So, but like Sted says, I don't see them challenging at the top because I don't think they've got the strength in depth. A couple, 2 or 3 injuries, and it's gonna knock them sideways a bit. So, yeah, I don't think they've got the quality in depth. But for the Champions League, I think, yeah, they definitely if they keep everyone fit, or don't get too many injuries, yeah, I can definitely see him Champions League, definitely, because they've started really well.
What you can say that their first 11 or their first 12 or 13 players, that what we've seen so far, are excellent, will give any team a game. Beyond that, I think what you need to factor in is, what is Arteta going to do in the Europa League? Is he going to go for it? Because then that's games. There's lots of games being played, and you saw what happened with Liverpool in the last season. I think they're suffering this season because of that, because of the tail end of last season. What's Arteta's thinking about the Europa League? And then you're right. Once they get that first defeat, what's going to happen? I mean, the next 2 games, just checked, Fulham and Villa.
We play them in a couple of weeks, though, don't we, mate? Don't we?
Yeah, so it's Fulham, Villa, and then it's United. So that, and then they got Everton, then they got Brentford. So apart from United, they got 4 out of those 5 games. They would expect to get all maximum points, and then they've got to go to Old Trafford in amongst that. They could be sitting, pretty first or second, going into October. That's a great start for them. But then again, what they're going to do with the Europa League, how they're going to play that, are they going to go for it? It depends who's in their group. and will that mess things up? So, it's some questions, but they've got a good run of fixtures coming up.
I think what I've seen, well, if you watch that All or Nothing, I think it's coming to the end of the season. They lose like 3 games, like Palace, 3 like easy games, and then they win against United, but the first game of the season they had that different kind of steel. Who was it they played? Where they were become under a little bit of pressure. I think it was the first game of the season, and they withheld it, and they went on to score.
The first game they lost to Brentford. The first game of the season.
No, I mean this year.
Oh, this season, yeah, against
This
Palace.
season. Yeah, so this season, that was it, Palace. They were against Palace, then Palace come on the second half, put under them a little bit of pressure, but they withheld that pressure. Where last year, I didn't think they had that kind of steel and experience. So the experience from last year is going to help them, and the added quality they brought in. I just think they're going to go from strength to strength, but just hopefully they can keep them fit, because usually Arsenal, they're going to be soft. They're going to be. I haven't seen that yet. Not yet. Like that party who's strong and physical. So yeah, they've got a nice balance in a minute. But like I say, a couple of injuries and it's going to knock them sideways.
Well, speaking of soft, Steve, Chelsea, they bruise like a peach at the moment, don't they? And Leeds absolutely bullied them, steamrolled them. I'll tell you what, we were talking about Tuchel last season and Chelsea and how most of their goals came from out wide. They're absolutely brittle at the moment, aren't they? But Leeds fully deserve that victory, mate.
Oh, they did. Yeah, obviously. It's not brand new, this high energy pressing that's going on. I mean, the great Liverpool teams of the 70s and 80s with Ian Rush, he was a one-man defence up front because of his pressing. So it's not new, all this, but it does seem to be like en vogue at the moment that everyone's mad for it. And Leeds basically ran all over Chelsea. They were like the Red Arrows. They were up and back. And Chelsea, again, it was another aloof performance from a top 4 club. City have delivered one, but pulled themselves round. Liverpool have delivered one from start to finish, and Chelsea delivered one from start to finish. And, it just looks like they can't cope with the sprinting of some of the opponents these days. And they've been dead used to having, 40, 50 games on their own terms. And I think other teams now at the start of the year are prepared to buckle up and say, no, we're going to have a real good go at you. None of this mid-block and low-block nonsense. We're coming right down your path almost, right down your road. And Leeds, once you get off to a good start, you just ride the wave. And I think that's what Leeds did.
I think Jesse Marsch has done an incredible job changing the mentality in that squad. And granted, they just about stayed up last season, but the fight is there. And look, I'm not Jesse Marsch's biggest fan. I've never understood the hype from the likes of ESPN, but obviously they're an American broadcaster, so obviously they're gonna back their guy. But it seems that so far the signings that they've made are working. I know it's still early days. But again, Chelsea, mate. I mean, boys, Mike, Rod, what's happening at Chelsea at the moment? Their transfer activity has been sporadic. It's been crazy. It's almost been they've framed money left, right, and centre, hoping to bring in certain players and whatnot. But the performance at the weekend, it just seems that they've got issues from front to back. They haven't got a striker. Even the closest thing they got to a striker was Werner, but he's gone. Midfield, without Kante, they look completely all over the place. Kovacic has obviously been a loss. And at the back, crikey, I know Koulibaly got sent off, and it's too easy to judge him. But they just look completely different to what you'd expect them to be. I can't put my finger on it. Honestly, I said they're brittle.
When they bought Lukaku, he was supposed to be like the last piece of a very expensive jigsaw. And he would have been their centre forward, the focal point. Didn't work out. They bought Werner as well. Didn't work out. They're both gone. Havertz isn't a number 9 for me. He's not a number 9. And then when you lose Christensen, you lose Rudiger as well. Then where is your spine? What's happening? I mean, they've got some excellent players. For me, Reece James is my favourite non-United player. I think he's a fabulous footballer, and Mason Mount as well.
They played him at centre back, Mike.
That's the point I'm making, because all these players have gone, and where are the replacements? Where's the strategy? I mean, we've talked about United in the way that there's no clue or there's no plan. Where's the plan for Chelsea? If you get rid of Lukaku, who was coming in? Werner's gone, who's coming in? And then Rudiger's gone, Christensen's gone, and then you're playing an outstanding right fullback in a three at the back. It just doesn't make sense. And as you said, Stel, with Kante's not there and he's getting on, then what? It just looks like a mishmash.
It's amazing how like a season can change, like, because they looked strong last year, and now Koulibaly, I think he's a good, even though he got sent off, I think he's a good signing. But yeah, Rudiger's a big miss for him because he was a pest in and a good player. So yeah, they need to. I really do see Ronaldo going there. I really do.
I was just thinking the same.
I really do. Last minute, one of them last minute things. They go in for him. Let's test the water. And ain't out.
Their main threat was Raheem Sterling, and I feel a little bit for the guy because he's come from a side that have been winning league titles, challenging for Champions Leagues, and he walks into this Chelsea squad and he looks around him and he thinks, oh, he's a good player, but he's not Laporte. He's a good player, but he's not.
He didn't have to make that choice. He could have stayed at City. He chose that. He wanted to play. He wasn't happy with playing 30, 35 games. Then, he should have done something about it. Instead, he did something about it, but he just moved. And now, yeah, he's not in such a strong team. And yes, he's getting minutes, but, is it enjoyable if you're getting tonked like you did? They got tonked. I don't think City have been tonked like that. They got battered on Sunday.
Did they need to spend 60 million on Cucurella?
Well, they don't. There's something I can't really trust about this Chilwell. Something I just can't really fathom with him. But I get the feeling the manager's the same. You wouldn't pay that much for a left back if you were fully convinced about Chilwell, who can definitely play football and can get in the last third and can cross and shoot and come in at the back post. But there's just something milky about him for the top level, for the elite team, and I think the manager's smelt it.
But there are needs elsewhere in the team, surely.
There are other areas in the team that he should have strengthened. Yeah, probably the biggest thing for me is, I think everybody likes Mason Mount. All the teams do, all these managers. But I reckon if we ask 5 people what's his best position, you get 5 different answers. Where does he play? Where does he play? So it's finding his role. Because there's no doubt he's a really good footballer. That can't be questioned. But what is his position? 1 minute it's Chalobah, 1 minute it's Loftus-Cheek, 1 minute it's Ross Barkley, 1 minute it's Jorginho, Kovacic, Pulisic. You never know if Thiago Silva's going to play. I've never followed a team from outside looking in that there is so much uncertainty in selection every week. That's the biggest problem.
Well, Steve, you had Loftus-Cheek at right wing back.
Yeah.
For a start. That's not his position. Let's get that right. Okay. They could have played Reece James then, possibly as Piliqueta as a centre back because he's played there before.
Yeah.
But he's chosen not to do that. He's got Ziyech on the bench.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to him. They've got Hudson-Odoi, who they were fighting tooth and nail to keep from going to Bayern Munich a few seasons ago. He rarely features. And then you got the American Dan James in Pulisic, who, again, this great hope that came in from Dortmund for 50-odd million. He can't get a kick.
And Rhodri, what do you think about them offering 60 million for Anthony Gordon?
Wow.
I just feel that why are they not getting a centre forward? They need a centre forward. They don't need midfielders. They need a centre forward.
It could be what you said at the start, mate. Could be Ronaldo. It could be Ronaldo at week.
I really do. I just think last minute job.
Well, look at their transfer targets for this summer. They were fighting for weeks to bring in Rafinha.
I don't.
He's another wide player.
Yeah, I don't fancy this Leicester player as well. I'm not seeing too much of him, but 60 million for him as well.
Fofana was out with an ACL, wasn't he?
80, innit? Broken leg, wasn't it?
Yeah,
broken leg. Yeah, sorry.
Where are they getting these prices from? Like, I listened to Talk Sport this morning. Dean Saunders said if it was like 15 years ago, it'd be like £3 million or something. He's probably right.
Don't forget the
80
Scottish
million.
wonder kid, Billy Gilmore, that you used to like.
Billy Gilmore, yeah.
Yeah, he's there. They've got a massive squad, and they've got too many choices.
He seems a bit lightweight, doesn't he?
He does, but he's just another number that they've got there that's just a non-contributor.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got issues there. It's not simple what they've got to do, but you know, Frankie De Jong, what's happening with him?
Well, apparently he's going to join United. Apparently that's almost done. That's the latest story coming out.
It's been done for the last 3 months, 2 months. It should be done and dusted. Who's dealing with these deals? It's just it's amateur all.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you look at Chelsea's squad. I mean, it's bloated, but it's not bloated with talent.
Good word, you know? Great word.
It's bloated. I mean, they've got Batshuayi still on their books. They still got that Baba Ratman, that left back that they signed many years ago.
You know, United have got the same problem, mate. Phil Jones is still there. You know, Harry Maguire's a massive issue because he's an 80 million anchor around the neck, and they're not going to get nowhere near that. I
want to get Theo on, man. I want to get Theo to talk about his Chelsea.
Get Theo on, get him crying.
I'll get him.
Del,
I'll put the link here, man.
Del, they're not still paying Winston Bogard, are they?
You never know. Well, they got rid of Emerson today. He's gone to West Ham.
No, but it's amazing how they've gone from last year to like third, or just poking into maybe challenging to like, you know, they're really struggling. Leeds really did a number on him, and it was a surprise to see. Then they get a man sent off and 3-0. So
I tell you what, lads,
had a 4 star as well.
It's nice to see Leeds running towards the opposition goal, as opposed to Bielsa following the opposition all around the pitch. So possibly you're seeing a better Leeds now, and you might get this Jesse March ball.
Yeah, maybe. One more
Rhodri
question.
Goal, decent. He started off well.
He's in your dream team as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, one more question. Did you hear Thomas Tuchel talking at full time about how there weren't any spaces on the plane? So the players got on the plane and the staff used the coach to go up there.
Boo hoo! You had to get
the luxury coach with Wi-Fi and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
What is this?
Like, you know, what's the coach service from around there? Like a proper horrible GM bus coach. It would have been proper kitted out.
Definitely.
You know, 3 hours there, 3 hours back. Boo.
Not like Battersby's at Worsley Bass, Rod.
Yeah, Battersby's. That's it. Battersby's. Yeah.
The thing is with Tuchel the thing is with Tuchel is that he's got previous, like whenever things, because he's very meticulous in how things are done, and if they're not done the way that he wants,
he's German, but they're like, aren't they?
Yeah,
German.
Well, you know, but
they like the efficiency.
I think it's a bit of a shitty kind of excuse. I mean, let's be honest, he flipped against Spurs as well, didn't he? Absolutely lost the plot.
I think we'll see a bit more.
No, I think Phil's still watching. I think Chelsea are going to be the United of last year. That'll be rubbish.
Right.
No. Have a look behind them, because United are only going to get better. They're only going to get better. They can't get any worse. Arsenal, we've just talked about them there. I believe they're going to be in the Champions League. Tottenham look a totally different side. Fit, strong, and they've got Harry Kane, Son, Richarlison, and they've got other, support acts. So, Chelsea are going to be the team looking in this year. I think.
Rod just mentioned Spurs. Conte again, another victory, 1-0 this time, clean sheet. Perisic getting an assist, Harry Kane scoring. We said in the preview that Spurs will be dangerous this season. I'm still standing by that. I can see them finishing third. But again, they really grafted. They ground out a victory, and I don't think any Spurs fan can complain about their starts to the season. Maybe the lack of form from Son, but they're not one player, are they?
No, but Son's not really started really that well. But like I say, they've got support acts that they've got quality, and you've got Harry Kane. he's a goal machine. You put the ball in the right areas, he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. And it used to be a problem scoring August. That's the thing of the past now. From this time last year when he was sulking, he wanted out, and now, he's the back. He's Harry Kane. He's one of our own again, and he's scoring goals. So, and that Conte, I like him. He's got good energy. He'd be a proper fucking wind. If you use it on the other side if you use a manager, do your head in, absolute do your head in. But to watch it, it's very entertaining. So yeah. He'd proper do. If I was Thomas, you just want to clothesline him. You'd want to do. You'd do. He's you know what he's like. He's a Duracell bunny on the line, isn't he? Just buzzing about. You do your head in.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna do things. New stadium. It's buzzing there now. They seem to always have good energy. He's got him really, really fit in this pre-season. You can see that with the pictures and the videos of him working hard wherever they've been in pre-season. So he's got him up to speed and he got him where he wants him. He's got a full season with him. So I expect big things and Conte. He's won wherever he's been as well. So I don't think he's strong enough to rival City, but they're on the right track then.
Mm.
Will they finish above Arsenal? That's a good bet.
Fair play. Mike, a few years ago, people were talking about Brendan Rodgers being the next best thing. He looks like he could be the next manager to leave. And then you got Graham Potter, who got another victory for Brighton. My Graham Potter, not Rhodri's. First of all, what do you make of Brighton's start to the season? They're winning games without a recognised centre forward. They got Danny Welbeck. I mean, I don't know if that counts.
He's just signed a new deal extension as well.
Exactly. Mope's probably leaving.
Mate, if you can't say he's a centre forward after watching him tear United to pieces, his movement, his mobile. Yes, he doesn't get a hatful of goals.
It's only his injury.
Problems.
It's only because he's injured that makes him not a top striker. He's a top striker, Danny Welbeck.
Right, but if Brighton had a goal scorer, they'd be in a better position, no?
But so would West Ham. So would other teams.
West Ham have got two centre forwards now. They've got Mikel Antonio and got Schumacher.
No, but if they had better centre forwards, I'm just saying in hypothetical, everyone wants better centre forwards.
You're just trying to shit on Graham Potter's program.
They've got a centre forward. What's he called? It looks like he's got on his way out. Top goal scorer last year. What did he get? Like 10, 12? So they don't score a hatful of goals there.
Did Mope get that many?
In all competitions, I think he did.
Oh, in all competitions. Okay, fair enough.
But in the Premier League, what did he get? Like 8 or 9? So, Brighton, they're punching above the weight at the minute, aren't they? Let's have it right. Come on.
Yeah, good on them.
Yeah, exactly. They've got good players. They've got This is what happens when you've got a good team, good players, honest players, and they've played together and they know each other. And you've seen that. You've got two top players that have left the club and they come to United and steamroll United and play really, really well, get a good result, and then they're often firing. So, yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you get a good start in the Premier League, Forest, they had a bad start, but they've turned it around. So, you need to get a good start. You get a good start and the percentage say you stay up. So, I don't think... Will all three stay up? I doubt it. But, I see two of them staying up.
Mm.
Brighton always look well coached.
Yeah.
It's sort of a cliche thing to say, but you can see that, players know where to play, with the ball, in and out of possession. I mean, you've got players who've got talent like Trossard, I think, is very underrated. He's a really good footballer. Got an eye for goal as well. I think he's a really good footballer. And, I mean, I take the point about if they had a centre forward, but I think Welbeck is a very good footballer. Don't forget they lost one of their key players in Bissouma, and they're still doing really well. They've got that young lad that United have been linked to. He's been linked to a few. Is it Caicedo?
Caicedo, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they find these players and they just keep ticking over, and you got to give them credit. Got to give Potter credit. He's got a good team. And to go to West Ham, and West Ham were, flying high at one point last season. I know they didn't finish the season very well, but they're they're a well-regarded team with a well-regarded manager, and they went to their gaff and played them off the park.
Mm. You got Solly March keeping Tarek Lamptey on the bench as well, which no mean feat there.
Mm.
All right, Pieri, talk to me about Brendan Rodgers then. Is he going to walk? You think?
I think he must be one of the. He definitely is one of those managers. We know that he can get very emotional. Doesn't show it, obviously, but there are certain things where that when things turn, he's not happy, and he can't be happy. The fact that he's looking around thinking, look, I want to get 1 or 2 players in, but I can't get anyone in. There's talk of Tielemans maybe going. Is this his last year of his contract? Or his last season in his contract?
Maybe.
He's played tonight, Tielemans, in the cup game at Stockport. What did that finish? Because it was going to the last minutes. Did it go to penalties?
I don't know. I haven't got it in front of me.
No, I don't know.
No.
Tielemans played tonight.
Stockport, yeah? Was it at Stockport?
At Stockport, yeah. I followed it up to the last minutes.
Yeah, Leicester won on penalties.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Stockport missed their first 2.
Okay.
Maddison as well has been touted about.
Yeah, I mean they've got some good players. You've got Maddison, you've got Barnes.
What's going on there? Why are they selling all the players? I thought, do you think they need the money there or what?
Is it for Vardy's new contract?
Can't be.
Paying off his wife's fees, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, at the back, I think they got Johnny Evans is another year older, and he's their top centre half, and he's another year older. He's going to be another year slower. Not really.
Big loss for him.
Who? Sorry,
Schmeichel's big.
Oh, yeah, he organises, doesn't he? So, yeah, I mean, they got some good players, but I just think they just lost that togetherness. I think Bissouma's a big miss, and sometimes with when you look at a manager thinking not being able to get anyone else in, there's no money. He's gonna go off the boil a bit, and then he might just say, well, he might jump before he's pushed.
Well, it's a strange situation right now because look, I think Dewsbury Hall has been a very good player for him this season. Obviously, James Maddison has been holding it down, so to speak. But when I look at that back line of Justin, Evans, Amati, and Castagna, I don't know, man. Okay, I've always believed Soyuncu has been a little bit of a liability because he's a little bit too aggressive, but at the same time, he's done well for him. So I really don't know what's happening at Leicester at this moment in time. But
you look at their bench; the bench is poor. I mean,
well, they had who was on the bench? They had Soyuncu, Thomas, Tielemans, Albrighton, Iheanacho,
Iverson,
Patterson, Daka.
Yep. Didn't he come in on a big fee? Who was it that came in as
about 20 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
A couple of years ago.
Oh boy. All right, so I think Leicester are in a bit of a pickle, but I think we've got a couple more quick games to discuss. Let's go.
Yeah, if my phone goes off, still my battery's gone.
Okay, no problem.
It's amateur hour. It's amateur hour.
Oh, yeah. You know what? My daughter's just come in and nicked my charger.
Dealing with novices here.
Jesus. All right, boys. Fulham beat Brentford 3-2. Quite a dramatic victory there. Fulham, good start to the season, though.
Fulham, very well. Very good.
5 points, man.
I was very impressed with him against Liverpool. And, good result. Mitrovic, if they keep him fit and he scores goals, they'll do all right. They'll be all right. Because, like we say, if you get a good start, and they've got a goal scorer, and they've got a lot of legs around them, experience. Manager's been in the Premier League as well, so yeah, I think they'll be. For me, what I've seen, they'll be definitely one of the teams that stay up, that's come up. And
Gerrard, another defeat there.
He wanted the winning 3-1 before.
Beat Bolton tonight, but
yeah.
But yeah, 3-1 loss at Crystal Palace. Their best defender is out now.
It's going unnoticed that he's got the same record as Gary Neville.
It's worse.
Yeah. So,
worse than Gary
Neville, it obviously doesn't fit someone's agenda right now. But he spent money as well. So, he's got to be accounted for because he spent.
Well, give credit to Palace though. Palace has been brilliant this season.
It's result business. Yeah, Palace have been brilliant.
Got City at the weekend, Steve. You a little bit worried there?
No,
not
not at all. No. But I do believe, I've said this at every level still, and the Premier League is probably the height of it all. Those first 10 games, there's no such thing as a free hit, none at all. But you can come out swinging. You really can. You can have a go. Even as the underdog, you can have a go because you've got, 31 games left or whatever it is to try and recover some points. Normally, around about November, December, the weaker teams go to games and think, oh, we'll take a point here, we'll take a point there, we mustn't get beat here, we'll try and keep a clean sheet here, because it's looking like where they are in the league is probably where they're going to be at the end of the season. But I do believe that first 10 game window, everybody just comes out with the bat and has a swing, and that's why I think the games are quite exciting and nice going at the moment.
So what are Everton swinging with at the moment, mate? Because I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what weapon of choice they have.
They're swinging. Remember, like at school when you used to have your coat, but you used to take your arm out of your sleeve and then swing your sleeve around. Yeah, they're doing that.
It's bad there, isn't it? I mean, it's really bad. People don't think about it. Well, when you look at that performance at the weekend against Forest, I don't know how they got away with a point.
It's what I mean, and they're going to get rid of one of their own. Cash in. There'll be murders down there. That's not going to happen, that.
I think it will, mate.
Do you think?
They've got a new stadium to pay for as well, don't they?
They've asked for Brozier or Conor Gallagher as part of the deal in return.
Oh, so Conor Gallagher, that'd be a deal if they got him back.
They're happy to negotiate. They're happy to negotiate a thing.
Would he be that much of a big loss, though?
Not if they get Conor Gallagher. I think he's a better player for me.
Oh, I'd rather have Conor Gallagher than Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, so would I.
But they need a striker as well, man.
And 60 million.
Well, yeah. Well,
they bid for the Watford one as well, lads. So the Watford player apparently can choose between Everton and Newcastle.
No brainer, isn't it?
Well, apparently he's made us eyes on the radar of Aston Villas. So again, that's another possible signing. So yeah, he's coming.
Still going to be a lot of movement in there in the last 10 days.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Teams are shooting themselves now.
For ages.
Just looking at Everton's front three on at the weekend, they had Gordon, Rondon, and Gray. I mean, I know Gray scored, but it doesn't really scream goals, does it?
No.
It's just not really.
Calvert-Lewin need him back pretty quickly.
Yeah. And you got that Davis and Iwobi, central midfield.
That Davis is not. I'm not having him at all.
Well, they look a little bit more steady defensively. Obviously, with Cody there now.
They've done well defensively. Tarkowski and Cody's a great signing, both of them. Tarkowski's a ready-made Premier League strong English centre half, and Cody's the same. I think very organised, very vocal, leaders of men. Yeah, they're good signings for me. Yeah. But they need goals.
Well, one thing I've noticed more about Conor Cody, especially him joining Everton, shall I say, is that whenever he receives the ball, the first thing he do is he looks up. He's always looking up for a pass, always looking to get things going. You know, before they had Yerry Mina, who was just like, you know, buckaroo, I guess. I think that's the nicest way I could put it. But now they look better defensively.
I think they missed James Coleman as well. I think he's
been back tonight, Rod.
All right, there you go. They missed his energy, but with him being back, and he's a leader of men as well, captain. So,
but even then, like if you look at their bench, same as what Mike said about Leicester. You know, Dele Alli, okay, he's going. They've got Vinagre, the left back, he was at Wolves, wasn't he? Michael Keane, Dwight McNeil was. I don't know what's happened with him.
Dwight McNeil, he was on the bench. He come on, looked lively. So he'll be if he gets going, he'll be a good player. I mean, he's got decent on his day, but it's got to be consistency with McNeil because he couldn't do it every week. He needs to do it every week if he's going to play for Everton.
Final question, Mike.
Yes.
Is Evangelov laundering money at Forest? The amount of players that they're bringing in. Be careful how you reply to that one. Actually.
Well, yeah. Well, I won't tell you what I've been trying to. How should I put it? Educate my son about it.
No one knows. No.
I mean, my son's up in Nottingham at uni, and after United's first two defeats, he said, "I think I might go to more Forest games this year than United games." So he's been following them. He was following them last year and this year, and he's more au fait with them. But there's a buzz in the city with Forest.
Yeah.
They're obviously back in the Premier League,
spending
spending
the
money,
ground.
lots of players. Yeah. I mean, when I've gone up there, it's a nice place to be. In amongst that sort of excitement. So, and they've had a good start, and they've got some good players. And was it Fulham last time they came up? They spent loads of money on lots of players. It didn't work out. I think it might be a little bit different here. I think Forest a little bit. I think they're very organised. But as Steve said earlier, the first 10 games, it's 3 hits, and then beyond that, it's shall I rest this player because I don't want to get injured against the team we know we're going to lose, and then we'll play here, and all these games that happen after Christmas, and we've got the World Cup and so on and so on. So let's see after 10 games where Forest are. But at the minute, so far so good, yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, I know people are saying, "Oh, they've signed so many players," but they lost about 10, 11 in the summer anyway, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I haven't really seen much of Forest. How's Lingard played? It's been interesting to know because he started, hasn't he? I mean, he's playing as a number 10, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been all right. He's been okay. Not set the world alight, but he's done all right. You'll see, he'll be good. Him and Johnson have got a good rapport and a good link up, so they'll get some good goals and assists from between each other. And Matt Morgs and Gibbs White come on, look lively, really lively. So
is he the lad that they signed from Wolves?
From Wolves, yeah. Disappointing, probably just to concede late on, but Forest look decent. Probably should have won it really.
I think
but Lingard looks all right. Looks lively.
I think they're signing a Korean striker now.
Yeah, it's a lot of money they're spending. A lot of money. A lot of players. It's hard to, Stes will tell you, it's hard to interact with all these players, especially in season. So, but, what do I know?
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, it's been another good show, I guess. We'll be back next week, hopefully. Shall we do Twitters and Instagrams and all social medias and all that stuff? I know Stevie ain't on it. I've tagged Doncaster Rovers. It's up to them now. I mean, I've tagged a few of your players as well, so hopefully they'll retweet. They're just going to find that clip where you're shaking your head when I mentioned Varane.
I get that. I don't think he'll stay fit. He never got a calendar month right last year, Varane, without getting a strain. Like you said before about other players, another year older, high intensity, up to the halfway line, on this mad press, running back towards your own goal. I don't expect Varane to play 4 games on the trot. There you go.
Okay. Pieri, socials.
Yeah, you can see it there. Where is it? Oh, there. Which way is it? That way there.
Don't know.
Yeah, at Del Pieri. At Del Pieri.
Rod.
At Rod James Giggs.
Rod has frozen.
Yeah.
Oh dear. And I was going to ask him.
Rod James Giggs.
I was going to ask him if he had any poems for us, but that's not going to happen, is it? No.
You can say what you want now. He's frozen.
Rhodri's poetry corner. Alas, poor Yorick. Fucking hell. There you go. Shooting defense. This is it for another episode. We'll be back next week.